To another developing story, President Trump tonight saying the U.S. is at war with drug cartels. That coming in a new notification from the Trump administration to Congress.
Essentially, as you said, saying the U.S. is at war with them. It comes after those deadly U.S. military strikes on boats near Venezuela that the U.S. says were carrying drugs and cartel members. The Trump administration sent to Congress identifying drug cartels as terrorist organizations, declaring their actions constitute an armed attack against the United States.
5 unlit ships. 5 tons of meth and fentanyl. Nearly $30 billion in poison aimed at U.S. cities. You clicked for the Navy and FBI strike, this is it. Inside, MQ-9 at 6,000 meters, SH-60s with 950 revolutions per minute, a Mark I 10-57mm gun, and a joint ICE, DEA, Colombian intel net. The cartel isn't a few smugglers. It's an armed flotilla with RPGs, PKMs, and mobile labs that can synthesize a new batch every 4 hours. How do you stop a state-sized logistics machine at sea, fast, without starting a war? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. They didn't move like mules. They moved like escorts. 5 hulls and a loose wedge, speed matched, spacing held. That's a patrol tactic, not a smuggler sprint. So who saw them first? A net did. Air, sea, and a joint cell that stitched the dots into one track you could trust. High cover watched the lane. An MQ-9 rode above the weather, a maritime patrol jet skimmed the edges, logging wakes and heat, a Navy ship pulsed surface search radar into the clutter. In a windowless room ashore, analysts fused the feeds into a live plot. One picture. Shared to everyone who could act. The ships ran dark. No AIS pings. No lights. A flag rose on one mast, then changed, spoofing identity to dodge questioning. They kept radio silence and held formation like a convoy that expected a fight. That behavior broke the normal rhythm of fishing, ferries, and tramps on that corridor. Detection started with water, not steel. Night sensors caught uneven wake lines, heavy for their hull size, tight for their speed. Infrared saw hot plumes from stacks tuned to mask but still bleeding heat. Radar marks didn't match profiles, edges and returns hinted welded plates where civilian gear should be. Pattern of life flagged the route, a drift where traffic usually turns, then a sprint through a quiet box used by no one legit. USS Freedom slid ahead to cut the lane. SH-60s spun up with flares and door guns for warning and suppression. The 57mm deck gun stood ready to take engines, not lives. Small drones went up for eyes on, low and quiet. Visuals settled the question. You could see deck guns rigged on improvised mounts, AK variants stacked in crates, RPG tubes near rail shields, and doors plated over. That's a floating strongpoint. The rules bit hard. The Navy had to assert visit and search without sparking an incident. Hails went unanswered. The group tried to swing past. Time ran out. The sequence hit fast. Hellos lit the lead hulls with white light. Warning shots cracked ahead. Precision fire walked into rudder posts and shafts. One ship lost steerage. A second went dead. A third dumped charges and started to sink. Fast ropers took the easiest deck, cut hinges, and moved to the bridge and holds. How did they know? It was the blend, wakes, heat, radar clues, and behavior that didn't fit the lane. Minutes later, 2 hulls drifted, one scuttled, crews detained, contraband nodes locked down. Sea control solved the guns. The lab rigs, precursor drums, and encrypted drives pointed at the factory behind the fleet. 5 tons isn't the headline. The machine that keeps it flowing is. You called it a $30 billion war build because the cargo was just a snapshot. The value sits in a mobile factory that rolls, cooks, and reloads without touching land. Start with the concept. Modular synthesis pods locked into container frames. Lithium-based power banks feeding reactors and heaters on closed loops. Batch clocks ticking at 4-hour intervals. The holds braced like a vault, with blast baffles, drip trays, and fire cutoffs so the process keeps running when the sea throws a punch. But chemistry hates motion. Heat spikes. Vapors pool. Waste can flash. On a rolling deck, that's a chain of failure. So you rig for stability. Sealed hoods channel fumes into scrubbers. Redundant pumps maintain flow when one cavitates. Battery-buffered inverters smooth the draw so heaters don't surge with every wave slap, the line holds steady, and the reaction doesn't swing wide. Now layer the teeth. AK-103s on racks by the ladders. RPG tubes ready to shred a chase boat. PKMs over the quarter, arcs marked with tape. Lookouts rotate under rain capes. Handheld jammers sit near the bridge to foul a drone link. This isn't courier work. It's a guarded convoy, logistics dressed like a forward base. Drives and manifests open the map. Caribbean legs tied back to inland Colombian fronts where printers spit replacement parts, pallets stack precursor salts, and lithium packs sit charged for swaps. A kit of parts model. Break one piece, another slides in. Like a factory that learned to sail. Follow the current upstream. Shell firms mask orders. Offshore accounts launder payments through trade fronts in Macau, Dubai, and Hong Kong. Sanctions chatter starts to circle suppliers and a holding hub that anchors the paper trail. You don't just chase boats. You choke the pipes. Here's the lesson. This is logistics warfare. Flows are the target. When shipping lanes turn hot, customs becomes a sensor grid, and a phone in a port office is as lethal as a cutter. The seized fleet proved the point: squad guns for deterrence, modular labs with power to keep cycles alive, and a Venezuela, Mexico axis stitching safe harbors and air bridges into one chain. The water fight just opened a new front: freeze the cash, map the vendors, cut the spine before the next hull forms up. The edge wasn't steel or rotors. It was the fused picture that turned lanes into a battle map. Air and sea feeds stitched together gave commanders the shot window and the exit plan in one glance. You saw how that shifts power. Anomalies in manifests. Heat that doesn't match a hull. Forged papers that fold under crosscheck. Target the flow, not the flag. What would you hit first next time, the boats, the labs, or the money? Comment your choice below, and subscribe if you want the tactics that win these fights. The next interdiction starts with a manifest entry and a heat bloom no one else saw.